He says hello. Doug, welcome. How are you today, pal?
Oh, great, Chris. Thanks for the shot. I got a couple of points for you. One, you're right. I mean, the FBI needs to be involved with the shooter. It's a disgrace. But I think the big point you're missing here, Chris, is that the FBI, if they're involved, they're not investigating NCAA compliance issues. They're investigating crimes. They're investigating real crimes.
And who's getting hurt with these crimes?
Well,
are you being hurt? I'm not being hurt. I could care less. I'm not being hurt. Who's being what? Brian Dozier? What? We're worried about ACC Georgia Tech's basketball coach because Louisville has an unfair advantage? Who gives a crap? Who cares? Who's being hurt?
Well,
tell me who's being hurt, damn it. Who's being hurt?
Well, if people are defrauded out of money, if they're
nobody's being defrauded. Patino gave $100,000 to the player to go to Louisville through the shoe companies, and the shoe company makes a deal with Louisville. Who's being defrauded?
Well, Chris, my point is that what Rick Pitino is doing in terms of NCAA compliance, the FBI doesn't care about. That's not what they're investigating here. When it comes out, there's going to be federal crimes involved if the FBI is charging people. They can't charge people for NCAA's compliance, Chris. They can't.
Did Victor Conti commit crimes? He did. What was his jail sentence?
Yeah.
What was his jail sentence?
Right, I agree with you. One other point.
Well, hold on, no, finish. What was his jail? He got 5 months in a minimum security prison and made a fortune because of it. Wrote books and everything else. Is Barry Bonds on his way to the Hall of Fame? Probably is. Is Barry Bonds going to have his number retired? How much money did the FBI waste on that investigation?
Well, had they saw Barry Bonds, purchasing interstate,
they didn't see him. They wasted manpower and American tax dollars on something that nobody gives a crap about, except me, who likes the history books.
Chris, steroid dealing is a real crime. That's why they're.
And why did Victor Conti, who had a shop of steroids, did he go to jail for 30 years?
No, he did not. You're right. One other thing, Chris, you said about point shaving, the integrity of the game. Just one point. If Duke or, Louisville has professional players and Georgia Tech doesn't, does that not affect the integrity of the game?
Not particularly. They don't have professional players. Well, Brian Dozier's a freshman. They have professional players in the way that, by the letter of the law, because they're being paid, but they're not professional players. They're 18-year-old kids. They're basketball players. It's not like Louisville bringing in LeBron James to help them win championships, and nobody knows that he's LeBron James. They're bringing in some 17, 18-year-old kid. Who knows how good he is? That doesn't affect Georgia Tech. All right, if Georgia Tech doesn't like the idea that they're not playing in a fair fair playing field, let them go play Division II sports. Let them play Division II sports. It's a great school. Nobody's going to, no, we can't do that. They want to sell tickets. They want to have Louisville come to their building. They want to have Duke come to their building. They want to have Arizona and Auburn come to their building, sell out games and everything else. It's a business. It's all business. The FBI, in my eyes, should be much more concerned about more insignificant things in American society, like a kid with a gun, a rifle, knocking off 17 people in a high school, which they should have known about from last fall on, and dropped the ball entirely, and who knows why. Maybe manpower was the reason. They're farting around trying to get Bruce Pearl out of college basketball. Who gives a... Again, John Wooden. That's all you need to know. John Wooden. Cheated his ass off. Indirectly. Cheated his ass off. Hid behind Sam Gilbert. His ass off. 10 championships in 12 years, revered Hall of Fame. They stormed the court, by the way. Auburn, Wednesday night. Kentucky. Who's coaching? Bruce Pearl. Whose assistant got in trouble with the FBI? Chuck Person. Anybody at that Auburn game on Wednesday night give a crap about Chuck Person? How about in Parkland, Miami, in Florida? You think people cared about what happened with those 17 people? Resources, put it in the right spot. Sal in Florida, he's on Mad Dog Unleashed, and he says hello. Sal, good afternoon. How are you today? Go ahead, Sal.
Second.
All right, Sal's on a bad line. We'll get Sal on a good line momentarily. John in Parkland, Florida. John, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What do you have?
Hey, Chris, how are you today? Good afternoon.
All right, John's in the perfect place in America to talk to you today, John. Let me hear a feel. Go ahead. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from New York, so I'm a big fan of yours and Mike. I moved here in 2001, so I live about a 1-minute walk from where this happened. My son goes to the school, and fortunately, he was home with a migraine yet when it happened. So thank God. I was home that day, and we heard all kinds of police helicopters, and it was just you can't believe it because we're in a safe neighborhood. I mean, upscale, good area, but this could happen anywhere. We're just in shock. I went to the vigil last night, and everyone's like stunned in town. So this is a good diversion for me to listen to you today. I'm a big fan, and just fortunate that my son's fine. I hugged him so much yesterday, so really, really good.
All right, now, where will the blame go in your eyes, John?
It's this. I know there's a lot of talk about this kid. He was in ROTC apparently, and was thrown out of the school. So I know there's talk of the FBI. So I mean, we're not ready to cast blame on anybody at this point. Everyone's just kind of stunned about it. But I definitely, they probably should have had a better look at him as well. But no one, you can't really. It's hard to say for sure, but definitely he was a troubled kid, and I know he was a foster kid, I believe, and his mother just died recently. I read so, but it's just a sad thing. I mean, the school, any school is not protected. Everything's a soft target, really. And
you can't. Everybody wants to arm the teachers. You can't arm teachers with guns. That makes no sense whatsoever. Pilots and co-pilots are not armed with weapons. You can't arm teachers with guns, and it's too expensive to have 50 cops at every school in a community to make sure this doesn't happen. Who's going to pay for that? And there was one armed guard at this school. This school's got 3,100 kids in it. There's one. You know better than I do. It must have 1 million entrances. One armed guard is not going to prevent this from happening. There has to be a better solution.
There's a school resource officer assigned to the school, but there's different entrances, and so definitely someone can get on. But it'd be great if they had just one entrance. Maybe if they had some kind of metal detectors. There was a lady on the news last night. You probably heard, was screaming and talking about one metal one location. That would be good if it was like that. But
what are you going to have? 3,100 people following a school via one entrance every day?
You can't do that. So gun control. We were last night. People were talking about the gun control a lot. It's one of those things where we had some politicians last night. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was talking about it, and some other people, and the sheriff. So gun control is definitely getting some play down here.
Well, let's hope it's something. Remember, in Florida, you can buy guns. Something has to be done when some 19-year-old kid with a troubled past all over the place is able to walk into a store legally and buy this kind of weapon with the kind of ammunition that he had. That can't happen in American society. Now, how the Republicans want to take care of this problem, they don't seem to care. It's bottom line, they don't seem to care. Their solution here in the last 48 hours is this is not the time to talk about it. Well, when is the time to talk about it? After the next shooting? Well, the next shooting? After Vegas, after Orlando, after Parkland, after Columbine, after Virginia Tech, after Newtown, Milwaukee, Kentucky. When is the right time to talk about it? Can you tell me, please? Why don't we wait till the next time? You know what the right time to talk about? One day they're going to go in these politicians' neighborhood and they're going to pick off their grandkids, their grandsons, their granddaughters. And then all of a sudden they're going to say, oh, something's got to be done. They'll find religion then. Here's John in Georgia. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Johnny, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, Chris. How's it going, buddy?
John, nice to have you aboard. What's on your mind now, pal?
Originally from New York, now living down here in Georgia for the last 12 years. But listen, I want to hit Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's a hypocrite. She's done. And friggin' Trump.
I don't know. What did she say? Give me a little rundown on her.
Chris, it's not even the point. I don't even want to see her on TV. She's a hypocrite. I don't want to hear nothing from that lady. As far as Trump, he needs to wake up. He needs to just turn around to all the hypocrites in Congress and just say, listen, I want 1 or 2 cops in every single school in the states.
Now, who's going to pay for that?
Chris, you're putting out a budget for other stuff. You know what? I think the people would be behind.
You need more than 1 or 2 cops. There was 3,100. You can't have 2 cops there, John, protecting 3,100 students. You need 20, 30 cops at that school. Who's paying for 20, 30 cops?
You don't need 20.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Chris,
how many cops? You don't need 2 cops. You need more than 2 cops.
Chris, you're wrong. It's a deterrent. I'm telling you, that's what it takes. 1 to 2 cops in every school. I went to school in Staten Island, 4,000 students. We had 2 cops, and they weren't even armed back in the day. Okay? And it worked. It's a deterrent.
Well, it's a different scenario. Well, there was a cop, there was an armed guard, there was an armed security guard here with a gun on Wednesday. Did it work for them on Wednesday?
I understand that. But then you're talking about the gun control stuff. It's a whole different ballgame. They have to revamp the whole system, and the Constitution, the Second Amendment. The whole thing's got to be revamped. I understand. I totally agree with you. It's a mess. But these stupid congressmen, they're all hypocrites. They're all praying.
I can't. The Congress has no credibility right now whatsoever.
I don't want to hear none of them.
What's your take on the FBI here farting around in college basketball and not looking into this scenario a little more deeply?
All these schools, every sport, they all do the same thing. They get the big athletes. They know they're getting paid. Who cares? To be honest with you, I don't give a crap about what they're doing. As long as the sports are good, I'm watching them. I don't care who's getting paid what. These kids got to make money. Who cares?
No, again, that is the take in America right there. You hit it right in the head. No, you're not going to find anybody who cares what kid gets paid what or what family gets what slush fund money. You're not going to find anybody who cares. And that's why the FBI is wasting their time. Here's Steve in Delaware. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Steve, welcome. How are you today?
Hey, Chris, how's it going, buddy?
All right, Steve, thanks. What's happening now?
Well, we're big fans of yours in the house. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on your opening monologue, and you were absolutely right. The FBI is farting around. That's an expression my father used to use, by the way. Maybe your father did, too.
Yeah, he did. He did, yes.
But, Chris, this nation is divided right down the middle. 50 goes one way, 50% go the other
Correct.
way, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to call everybody out on the Republican side, I know you're a fan of history, and I love you. I love that about you, and I am too. But, let's go back just a little bit. In the Obama administration, how about the time after a particular shooting where Obama was he was almost miffed when he said, I have come out to do so many of these conferences about a mass shooting and stuff like that, right? And then he goes, well, I'm calling on Congress to, put in, gun control laws. Well, don't forget, Chris, your history where the Democrats controlled all phases of government for 3 solid years, and they never brought this kind of stuff up.
Well, yeah, no, they did. A lot of that.
No. Do you know why, though?
Why is that?
Because it's like the third rail, because they know
it's poison. It's going to get them maybe not elected. I agree.
Get them kicked out. It's going to get them.
But
kicked out.
But right now, Trump just named the president a year ago. Why didn't Trump mention this in his tweets about gun control?
Well, you come from. Well,
I mean, I didn't vote for Trump, but I'm fat. But Trump's made me money. I mean, he's done it for the economy. But how about Marco Rubio? Why is Marco? How am I supposed to take Marco Rubio seriously when he's getting $4 million for his campaign funds to the NRA?
You're talking about what he said on the night of the event.
He never does anything. He's been a senator forever. What's he ever done?
Well, okay.
How about Ted Cruz, that idiot? Well, what has Ted Cruz ever done?
Now, don't get mad with me, but what did your congressman tweet out about Trump after the incident?
My congressman, I don't even know who it is. Who is it?
I don't know, Mulaney or Maloney or something like that up in Connecticut. He tweeted out something about, all right, enough with the thoughts and prayers. Mr. President, get off your ass and do something.
He's right. He's right.
So you enjoy a tweet like that?
Well, I mean, hold on now. That's just Trump. I mean, this is Trump now. Is it political? Is it professional? Probably not. But look who's the president of the United States. How are his tweets going? But I don't want to make this so much about gun control because we're never going to win. Until you vote people who don't care about gun control out of office, this will never change. You can't even do anything symbolically. I'm more wrapped up. Chris Mayfield? Murphy. Okay. I am more concerned about the FBI here because the FBI is in my neck of the woods, sports, wasting everybody's time, taxpayer dollars, and manpower when under their noses they had this kid dead to rights and did nothing about it. Never investigated, never looked into it, never reported down to Miami, to their office to check on this kid, to knock on a door, to find out what his posts meant, why he was killing squirrels and pigs outside in his underwear shooting a rifle. Not one time did they ever knock on this kid's door to find out what was going on and if at least scare him. Not one time. Yet they're out there farting around on trying to get Bruce Pearl, where, again, it's a cesspool. I don't care. You don't care. Do something more important than this. I don't care about some dopey middleman with Adidas, with the shoe companies. Nobody's interested. John Wooden, a god in the sport, cheated his ass off at UCLA. Ass off. To Sam Gilbert. 10 championships, 12 years. Here's Pablo in South Carolina. Pablo, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, I'm all right. Not too bad. Yourself?
All right, Pablo. Nice to have you aboard. Let me hear what's on your mind today. Fire away.
Yeah, I had a question, a comment in regards to the gun control issue. If you look back at way back in the day, before the government took the right of parents actually taking the time to discipline their child the way they used to back in the day, the way we grew up.
Parental control here is an issue. I agree. Yeah, listen, you'd still have these issues, but parental control is an issue. Gantz up in Connecticut, his mother let him have all those guns. The kid was unstable, a joke. This foster family, now they weren't parents, this foster family letting this kid come into their house with a rifle didn't make any sense whatsoever. I agree with you on that. There's a lot of wheels to this. It's not just gun control. It's mental illness. It's a lot of things. But guns are a factor.
Because the gun can't shoot itself.
I understand that. But guns are a factor. And to deny guns being a factor is being naive. That is, you can't deny there is no reason whatsoever that a 19-year-old kid should be able to go into any kind of gun store and buy this kind of rifle with his track record. He's mentally unstable. They just retracted a law Trump did that Obama had put in, making it much harder for mentally unstable kids to buy weapons, and Trump just negated that. This mentally unstable kid bought this rifle and ammunition and murdered in cold blood 17 people. Now, I understand there are other reasons, but you can't just throw it at mental illness because it's mental illness all over the world, and we lead the league in this. We lead the world in this. We're the 27 Yankees in this. And other countries who have kids who are just as screwed up as our kids, they don't have this issue. We do. Why? Why? Tell me why. America loves guns. They have more guns in this country than their people. Think about it for a minute. There are more guns in this country than people. That is unfathomable. Unfathomable that we have allowed this to occur. But again, I am more wrapped up. See, you can tell today, folks, with the fans. They all agree with me about the college basketball. The fans calling up here today, and there's 9 lines since 3 o'clock. They're all wrapped up in the guns because it's division, it's controversy. Nobody is arguing, Chris, you're right, 100%. We all know that the college sports is a mess. So the FBI getting in the NCAA business on something that nobody gives a crap about is a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of time. Just like, as it turns out, the steroid issue was a complete waste of time. The steroids and Conti and the steroid factory in San Francisco had nothing to do with a strict steroid ban in baseball. Jose Canseco's book did. Congress got a hold of that Canseco book. They were interested. They conducted a hearing. And next thing you know, Bud is peeing in his pants to make sure he has a program because he didn't want to be the commissioner who was going to get killed in front of Congress. He got embarrassed. And so he came up with a plan, and Fear couldn't do anything about it. That is why there's a tough steroid policy. Not because Barry Bonds and Victor Connie. So the FBI actually did nothing with this. Craig Anderson went to jail for a couple of times. The trainer who wouldn't squeal on Bonds. That's it. Bond's got a house arrest for obstruction of justice. You know how much manpower and how much money the FBI spent on that nonsense, as it turns out? You know how much money they wasted? Yet they didn't have the manpower, whatever the reason. They couldn't even pick up the phone and call their FBI office in Miami to say, hey guys, we got a nutcase here in your neck of the woods who we're very worried about. Go dig into the situation. Go knock on his door. Scare the hell out of him. Let's find out what's going on. Take 3 of you with your FBI jackets on. They didn't do it. Instead, they're holding press conferences all over America. Oh, they're talking in front of judges regarding this major issue in college basketball. They're wasting your time. FBI should be ashamed of themselves. Christopher Wray, ashamed of yourself. Blood is on your hands, my friend, and your department. There's no getting around it. You can't deny it. You had leads left and right. Fell asleep on it. And before you go sit there, and again, I've said this 1,000 times, and worry about, whomever, Sean Miller, Jim Larinaga, why don't you worry about something a little more important? Jacob Wilkins of Sports Byte half past. Mad Dog on